Welcome to Occupational Learning. My name is Bruce and I'll be your facilitator. You would receive a learner guide and a workbook as well as a portfolio of evidence from your facilitator. As we go through the modules, you'll be asked to do class activities in your workbook. At the end of the last module, you'll be asked to complete a portfolio of evidence. Now let's have a look and see which unit standards make up this module. These are the two unit standards which make up this module. And let's have a look and see what is the agenda. Firstly, we're going to be looking at how we use learning resources in an occupational context, the use of learning strategies in a given context, as well as maintaining and adapting oral communication, as well as the functions in a team. Let's look at the first module, which is using learning resources in an occupational context. And these are the module outcomes which we're going to be looking at. Firstly, how to find and use suitable learning resources, managing occupational learning program materials, reflecting on how characteristics of the workplace and occupational context can affect the learning. And let's carry on with the first one, which is to find and use suitable learning resources. In the learning process, we interact with and use language and communication for the transfer of knowledge and skills. The use of written, printed information, as well as the transfer of information through verbal communication, forms part of this process, both in terms of the provision of information, as well as the output required from learners in terms of classwork, discussions, and the assessment of skills and knowledge, which forms part of the learning program and the learning process. Resources are means to supply a want. Resources can be raw materials, money, knowledge, people, or anything that is used to meet a need. So a learning resource would then be any resource, human, technological, or otherwise, that we can actually use to obtain information for learning. These are the different types of learning resources available. People, the internet, textbooks, dictionaries, thesaurus, encyclopedias, as well as magazines. The best place to look for resources is a resource center. This is usually a library in which you'll find a variety of learning resources, mainly books, but libraries are increasingly including computer-based or electronic resources. Many libraries now have information technology sections where electronic resources such as CDs and DVDs are also available. Managing occupational learning program materials. For learning to take place effectively, a variety of resources are provided to learners to enable learning. These include learning materials or textbooks, workbooks and guides through assessment guides. Access to additional information can be found in resource centers like libraries such as magazines, brochures, as well as textbooks, facilitators or lecturers, coaches in the workplace where learning takes place in the work environment, other employees in the workplace familiar with the vocational area for which learning can take place. Organizing occupational learning materials includes the following, from texts to handouts, textbooks, learner guides, charts, maps, plans, as well as diagrams. This is also in your learner guide. Understanding and the use of layout and presentation of learning materials. Books that are designed as a learning resource are also organized to assist learning by helping us find information that we need. The most important of these features is the contents page, index, glossary, as well as electronic texts. Engaging with technical language, terminology, and seeking clarification if needed. In any field of study, there is a vocabulary or terminology that is specific to that field. It's technical language or jargon. Groups that have a similar interest, like trades and professions, will commonly use jargon. Using jargon can be advantageous, as it can make it easier for a person to communicate with fellow employees. When you hear a term or read a word you do not understand, you need to make note of that specific word. Organizations exist within the business world and in the market economy in order to produce goods and also services to meet people's needs. The following features could affect the learning process and or the application of learning the various occupational environments. For example, technological resources, communication resources, communication strategies, multilingual needs in relation to necessary client or colleague interactions. Now looking at the different types of features in the occupational environment, the environment and conditions in which learning takes place can have a positive or a negative effect on the learning process. Whilst the workplace offers many wonderful opportunities and resources for learning, such as the opportunity to apply skills learned in practical situations, as well as up-to-date and relevant documentation and technology, it could also hamper the learning process As learners could be called from the classroom when emergencies rise or the venue can become uncomfortable or unsuitable for the transfer of learning to actually take place because it's not a proper training venue. Now let's look at the ways in which the features of learning process or application of learning. Ideal learning conditions would look like a place where you have few distractions such as phones, computers or TVs in the location. Other people that maybe rarely interrupt the location. It has to be a quiet location where almost no distractions from phones, ringing people, or any types of other influences like music, etc., or talking or playing. Please complete class activity 1 in your workbook. Thank you.